Um, Good evening, good afternoon, whatever. Ah, there you are. There you all are. Right. So first of all, apologies. My situation is quite a few people have got a hat on. Right, we'll come on to that. The time here is I suppose about 6:20 in the morning, which is sort of fine. The reason we're starting late actually is because of well, I was going to say an unprecedented situation. Of course, all situations in the house are unprecedented, but here, and I sort of hate to talk like this so early in the morning, but a couple of cunts sneaked in. I don't really understand how, because I'm not a person that normally goes about trying to infiltrate Zoom calls for trolling purposes, and I don't exactly understand what bots are or who these people are, and as a result, we've had to mute everyone. You can imagine there were not quite as many people on the call admin wise as possible, as usual, because of the well, we keep coming back to it. You think it's the night time, but it's very early in the morning. It's not actually light outside. Anyway, so sorry for the I think these people have gone. Of course, everybody's welcome in the house, except in the sense that nobody is welcome in the house, because the house is a frightening, inhospitable place. But so I certainly don't want to I don't want to create an atmosphere of belligerence. But if you're, I don't even know really how to address bots. Basically, if you reckon if you're new here, you absolutely are welcome. Although I'd say a reasonable amount of catching up to do. Well, no, in a way, there's no catching up to do, because this thing has never made sense. But if you sort of sense that you shouldn't be here, please fuck off. Is that how you deal with bots? I don't really understand what sort of. Anyway, as a result of this, everyone is unfortunately muted. There are still quite a few more participants than usual, which means either new people who, again, hi, lovely to have you, or troublemakers, don't understand your motives, but go and do something else, please. Or people who aren't real. Again, that is beyond the realm of my understanding. I think, though, that most of those people have got, yeah, hi, Chrissy. If I can see you in the chat box and you're talking like a human, it's absolutely fine. It's just, so we've made various attempts. The trouble is, it's boring, but normally we could just throw these people out of the call for various reasons. Admin-wise, we can't. So I've muted everyone. Shit, what if I'm not real? Asked Shelley. I recognise your name. If you have the sentience to question whether you are real, then you probably are. But anyway, we haven't got time for that sort of thing. An awful lot has to happen in the house. We've missed a month as it was. I think don't start talking in binary, otherwise it'll be. So sorry for the late start, and also sorry for the late finish. I think because I'm pretty sure there's too much of it this month. I don't know if you could hear that, but you know when they bin lorries come round and toss glass into recycling units and so forth. That's the sort of thing I can hear out there. It's a dreadful sound. But I'll tell you what's more dreadful, not being able to hear any sounds because you're stuck in the house. For those of you who are new, you'll soon, it is doing my head in a bit to think of new, just because of the, oh shit, that's the other thing. I'm on the floor at the moment because my laptop failed to charge overnight. So there's no other way of saying it, on the floor. Soon it'll have enough juice that I can at least sit on a table like a real person. Anyway, to catch you up, if you have just tuned in August, as in August last year, about 8 or 9 months ago now, you, the audience, became stuck in a house in Edinburgh, which you were renting or hoping to rent for the purposes of attending the Edinburgh Fringe. Since then, every consecutive month, apart from last month, you've been trying to get out. And the whole game is trying to get out of the house. But I tell you what, you never can. Right, that's all you need to know, really. Oh, you've got there will be quite a few references to things like knives and tuna in the chat box, but it is probably futile to try to bring you up to date with that. You'll feel your way in as you go along. All you need to know for the in terms of the mechanisms of this thing is you will vote on each new move, as you'll know if you're regular, using Twitter. So if you're new, ideally you would be following this on Twitter, where you will see the actual storytelling happen, and there'll be Twitter polls, and the choices you make collectively will determine your next moves. I'm quite confident that the bots have gone now, so I think we might better unmute everyone, because at the moment I can just see lots of people, many of them wearing peculiar headgear, but I can't hear anyone, although I can see people smiling and laughing, which I suppose is sort of similar to nature's hearing, I suppose. Matt, can we thank God for Matt? Also, possibly Alex is here. Oh, hang on. Fine. Hi, Matt. Can you how did just Caroline speak there? Lots of things are odd in the morning. Hi. Right. Let's see if we can get this. Let's see if we can get this going.
Might just be me.
I think it is you. I think we've unmuted one person as a trial. Okay, good. Everything's absolutely fine.
Kelly is.
Hi, everyone.
Alison is. Cat, do you want me to just provide updates on who's unmuted?
Well, I think in time we might have a whole unmuted. I think if I joined this for bot purposes, one of the problems was that one of the bots, or at least one of the unwelcome people, was complaining that it was late starting, but it was late starting because of them. Hello, everyone. Nice. We should be about to. We should be, I think, about to start.
Everyone stream some porn.
No.
Matt, are you, are you empowered to actually begin the Twitter stream? Because that's, I think, beyond the limited province of my ability here. At the same time, keeping an eye on the WhatsApp group. Here we go. This is what we're on. Yeah. Okay. Good. There we go. The WhatsApp group says we could unmute trusted people. So if you've been unmuted, that is a mute your personality. If it's remain muted, then it's time to take a long look. Right, here we go. Sorry, as I say. So we left it with you attempting to phone somebody for help, the producer of the show that you're hoping to perform your members. The phone's ringing and ringing and ringing. There's no answer from Stu, the Edinburgh producer who you briefly hoped would dig you out of here and whose name is an implausible anagram for a puzzle you sidestepped by mistake. For those of you who are new, sometimes we set up quite intricate things which are then bypassed by the decisions made by the group. No response. After everything you've tried, all the help, the phone's AI, the genie, the weird maths puzzles that keep coming up, you were still as stuck in this place as in, well, August 2021. When this nightmare began. Really, I could have just read this rather than trying to summarize it for the new people. But anyway, but then what is time? Philosophers have talked about it for as long as buggery, but most of them, with the best will in the world, won't stuck in a townhouse celebrating Christmas on their own. This did happen, new people, feeling the seasons turn. Oh, remember the Christmas one? All in verse that was. I was doing that quite close to the wire. Mind you, I'm doing this quite close to the wire. There's still one bit which hopefully you won't choose. I can't work out how to send a video from my to DMs. I mean, you don't need to worry about that. Feeling themselves age months while experiencing only minutes. You remember the genie's last words 2 months ago. You might remember there was a genie helping you out. Dinky Donk. Time is a fiddly business. Sometimes you need to go backwards. Has he been to a future where you're free? I apologize, by the way, if I misread anything or seem sort of a bit odd, because it is getting light outside, which is nice. Yeah, another day. So this is the sort of stuff. Sometimes by the sound of it, there might be odd noises, but as I say, I think these people will hopefully, well, if we leave it long enough, they'll die, won't they? But
where's the night from?
As logic stands, you couldn't meet a man who's from the future. But if you're meeting a genie, maybe logic isn't a thing. The phone rings out. Stu isn't coming today. What is today? Your thoughts all clash. You need to do something. So here is your first choice for those of you who are new. Lose your shit and smash your phone to atoms. Ponder time a little bit more. Sing a song to raise your spirits. We've all had to do that a little bit. Or some stretching exercises. This is your first poll. As you know, if you're regular, there will now be 3 or 4 minutes while you choose your path. And I won't lie to you, that 3 or 4 minutes will be quite useful for me administratively. Alison asks, are we still naked? No, let's assume a reset where you have at least some clothes on. But depending on your choices, I cannot guarantee you won't get naked again. Let's say. Last episode was as people's parents say, racy episode of the house. And given the time of morning and the fact that, as some of you know, I've been banged up in essentially 2 rooms for a week, there's no knowing what might happen in the house. All right. So what happens now is we'll watch these votes pile in. Quite a large majority for singing a song at the moment.
That's the COVID.
Okay, we now thanks to the excellence of Alex and Matt, we now believe we have a handle on how to exclude spammers or trolls or bots or these pricks from the call. So God, this is why on a 24-hour show, for example, if you were the sort of person to do that, you have what they call mods the whole time. Because of these strange circumstances, we don't. God, you could have watched Taskmaster. Anyway, let's not think about that. You can make a case as well that my laptop Still isn't charging, even though I'm on the floor. So let's address that. It's not in properly. It's in now. Sometimes I don't plug things in properly because I have a sort of weird relationship with electricity because I don't like it. I mean, it's handy, there's no doubt about it. Right. I don't like electrical goods. We all know this. I don't like lightning. I don't like sparks. Cheese, that's different. Right, we're nearly there. I can eat it. I'll eat it on things. I had parmesan yesterday, but I didn't ask for it. They just automatic. Everyone defaults to cheese, don't they, in restaurants? Nice problem to have, I suppose. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. Right, while we wait for the votes to I feel I'm now at that bit where you're sort of oddly awake. It's very clearly a case of, see this, for example, Ian says, last time I saw you looking over your shoulder so often was that, if the last time you saw me was outside the library, I cannot imagine. I mean, so much water has gone under the bridge. Can everyone see a thing that says Matt's air?
Yeah. I think he's just showing that his charging works. He knows how to charge.
My laptop might not be at full battery, but there's fucking no problem with Matt's AirPods. You guys aren't teetering out anytime soon.
Matt.
Yes, so welcome to you, Ian. You're right. I did do a gig outside my local library, having just been vaccinated for the first time. But quite a bit of online stuff has occurred since then. Anyway, you'll soon catch up. So we're nearly at the end of this poll. The polls cannot go any faster than this because of the limitations of Twitter itself, but it's pretty obvious what the winner is. Here we go. Something in your internal monologue, this could be a clue, has reminded you of a song you can't quite catch hold of. Time, the future. No, it won't come. But look, a song always helps. You sing a lusty few bars of Hey Ya by Outkast in the end. I forgot about that. Go for it.
All at different times.
Well, yes, it's very hard to synchronise these things. It's cool. When you've stopped singing, you can still hear music. Can it be? As always, you wonder if you're imagining things, but no, there's definitely ellipsis. You start to double back the way you last remember walking towards the sound. By the way, everyone will be unmuted eventually. I think we'll obviously have a bit of an admin backlog because of your friends and mine, the trolls. It isn't easy. It feels like even longer than usual since you were last moving around this place. An arch reference to the fact that failed to do this last month. Also, your brain feels like it was replaced by a passion fruit some time ago. And yet, there is music. You can hear music. You walk. You're back in the room where the Christmas banquet appeared and vanished in a rhyming, vaguely Shakespeare's Tempest bonanza. You'd swear it's the same room. But now, instead of a long table, there's nothing but an antique jukebox. We're now getting to the meat of it. Antique, of course, meaning, in this case, maybe the 60s. Although I saw some of you in the chat box unfamiliar with Common People by Pulp, so fuck, as they say, my life. That's a thing young people say. Sometimes they say FML, but that's what it stands for. Honestly, time, the more you ponder it, but luckily, that isn't your personality. You're more into pop music. You peer into the jukebox. It's Rolodex of little cards. You can all picture a jukebox. Well, some of you probably can't. Fuck my life. But it was basically, before the internet, it does sound a bit primitive, actually. It was a sort of nice box thing, and you pressed a button and it played the Beatles.
It's a filing cabinet of records.
A filing cabinet of records, if you will, and somebody will. There are only 4 songs. They're the 4 that you'd probably expect on any pub jukebox. Rock Me Amadeus by Falco, My Way by Frank Sinatra, We Are Family by Sister Sledge, and Pink Glove by Pulp, who we've just heard. What are you going to listen to? Right, important decision here. I mean, I don't want to lead the witness too much, but ideally don't choose We Are Family just yet for administrative reasons. The other 3 are available to you. Well, all of them are technically. Yes, no Mysterious Girl. Funny old jukebox, actually. For those of you, there's been quite a number of references to Mysterious Girl. Back in the story, everyone was required to sing that for reasons which now are lost to time, or they're probably not lost to some of the people here. If you do choose We Are Family, nothing will break. It's just there's a thing I don't have ready yet, but absolutely don't worry about that. While you vote, once again, it's a case of what's up to you and what's up to you.
I know we love Mike so much, no one would do that to him.
Ooh.
We're quite so far. By the way, it doesn't matter if you know any of these songs. The songs themselves are not necessarily important. Hello. They're just sort of mechanisms for moving the game along. Yes, I'm just enjoying some of the things that people have changed their names to. We have fun, don't we? I think we have fun. I hope this is fun. If this isn't fun, I don't really know what fun is. But then, yeah, people have said that to me before. Yes, while we're chatting, is anyone lucky enough not to know My Way? Asked Bethan. Yeah, Seminole Funeral Dirge is maybe an ungenerous description of My Way. But for those of you, by the way, it doesn't matter if you're familiar with any of these songs, but very quickly, Rock Me Amadeus is a bizarre 80s electronic anthem, which I briefly became obsessed with and forgot about and remembered because of talking to somebody here on Twitter. My Way is a old song that you get at funerals. It's only the second most played song at UK funerals. What is now the most common song at British funerals? Just be thinking about it. What has overtaken
Staying
My
Alive.
Way?
Highway to Hell.
It's not that though.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Oh yeah.
I don't want
Angel.
Not that. Anyway,
Burn, baby, burn.
It's not Angels is a good get. You think Angels, but it's actually not that yet. It's also not Going Underground by The Jam, but very nice, Dr. Gregors. So far a narrow lead for the album track Pink Love by Pulp, who, for those of you who are young, were the enormously influential and successful guitar band of the 90s that we heard immediately before this began, and one of the favorite bands of 17-year-old Emma Watson, and still one of them. Where nobody's written it yet. By the way, I didn't know. Oh, someone has. Oh, hang on, someone has written it. It's also not Highway to Hell, no, but some very inventive guesses here. I'm also interested to hear where people are sort of coming in from, where you are, and how, Funeral by Arcade Fire is an inventive attempt by Sandy, but that's a whole album. And even at a funeral, you sort of, I'd listen to that all day long, but most people don't want 45 minutes of music while they're weeping for the dead. Anyway, where in the chat box, let me know where you are. I do always ask this, but normally I'm in London. Here, I'm famously on the other side of the world, which makes my relationship with the incredible as ever. Bloody hell, loads of you. Brazil, Belgium, Norwich, Yorkshire, a couple of Americas, several Americas, 4 Americas, the home of Pulp, says Becky, which is Sheffield, the Netherlands, Toronto. Culture, in the meantime, someone's just asked, may I ask something? And you can, but as you can see, the chat box sometimes becomes sort of a little bit. There's Lily. I remember trying to talk French to her. Hi there. Nice to see these names again. Hi.
Bonjour.
Oh, I forgot you to talk back. Hi, everyone. Hi, bonjour. Connecticut. Amazing stuff. The number of people here from North America continues to beguile me. On the other hand, Kirkcuddy, Rockhampton, as in Queensland. All right, it looks like we've got a result here. And this is a result I do not mind administratively, I have to say. Okay. The empty, as far as you know, house echoes with the slinky, highly sexual album track by one of Mark Watson's role models, Jarvis Cocker, the lead singer of Pulp, whom he inexplicably forgot to mention in that portion of his Menkind interview. By the way, if there are references to things that you don't understand, it's fine. People will either catch you up in the chat box, or you'll Google it afterwards, or your life will go on without any more of me than you. We're just doing a kind of, oh, hello. Shit, I forgot about this. I haven't seen any of this because I've been sleeping, although barely. So this is the song you can hear. That's what a jukebox looks like. And yes, Masha, an actual jukebox. Yes, you're right. Don't worry about references. Go by vibes. So that was a transitioning slide. Someone's raised their hand. Good luck, everyone. Yes, but to be fair, Ben, you can ask something, although there's still, well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, but not for long. The jukebox evaporates. The room seems to. You hear wild, uncategorizable noises. Unfortunately, we have had some of those already. You feel hot and bothered. You were standing outdoors. You've escaped the house. This means, or have you? You look around. A terrible beast is looming.
All right.
This is the first time you've been technically out of the house since August.
Yes, yes.
WTF? What the fuck is this thing? A mammoth? Sometimes I'll fill you in with sort of online abbreviations. It looks like it could pretty happily have your face for dinner, your bollocks or other downstairs friends for dessert, walk out without leaving any sort of tip. This is problemos. It is the definition of problemos. You have, well, literally been transported back to prehistory, or at least some bullshit with cave people and frightening animals. You've about 3 seconds to stop this one from devouring you. My word, events have taken a turn.
It was too much for me, sorry.
I hope bollocks or other downstairs friends is an acceptable compromise for everyone. You cast about frantically the things you still have. Oh, there you go. You have got trousers on, some sort of trousers. From tens of thousands of years into the future, one of these might be able to save you. Maybe. You don't have much choice but to try anyhow. Right. So with one of these, with some sort of mammoth bearing down on you, you may deploy. Yes, you're right. Technically, not that Ben. I don't mind not that Ben. You have about 4 minutes to decide whether to try to save yourself using the umbrella, the can of tuna, the £40 you stole from that man you killed, or as ever, you have the option of just having, for newcomers, there is always at least one opportunity to cry per episode. It's just a moment.
I like the idea of bribing a mammoth.
Well, look, we all like the idea of bribing a mammoth. It doesn't come up. Just be the moment. Oh dear. There's a fair bit of heat around the idea of stalling it with tuna, which again, for those of you who are new, one of the first things we acquired in August was a can of tuna. We then sacrificed it for something, but then we got it back. It's fair to say tuna's never been far away from people's thoughts here. Yes, you're right, Lucy. Sorry, you did lose the tuna. Why? Louis says, why are we not knifing everything? The same reason we're not knifing everything in everyday life, Louis. We don't live like that. Why are we not knifing everything? Christ almighty. Hello, how can I help you? Sorry, I've knifed you. Have a look at the mirror, Eleanor.
To be fair, this would seem like an ideal situation for knifing.
We knifed poor Andrew and he only wanted to play rock, paper, scissors.
I hold my hands up. Perhaps knife would have been a handy thing to have as one of your options here, but it's a little bit like that.
Who needs a knife when you have an umbrella?
Oh, Teresa's mentioned. At some point you acquired an umbrella, apparently, yeah. But I think it's moot because it does look like the tuna is going to be with him. Also, no spoiler. Well, it's not really a spoiler. There may be an opportunity to deploy the knife in a later game, although again, it depends on what choices you make. A lot of things use the serrated edge of the open tuna can as a knife. Yeah, I suppose you can. Well, look,
it cuts through loaves of bread, doesn't it?
I'm doing an awful lot with a tuna can. Quite a bit of interest in the umbrella, but it does look as if tuna's going to win. I think I can. Hang on, I think I can do that, Matt. Carry on. Pia says, are you considering giving away my comfort animal brackets tuna again? You've got to think though, Pia, desperate times call for desperate measures. If you might die here. I think if it's me, I don't really like tuna, but even if I loved tuna, if it was say sausages and mash, I'd probably still give it up rather than leave this life. Bots wise, we're all good now.
Nando's this time.
Right, we now believe we're 100% free of bots, spammers, etc. Yeah, who knows?
Nice Bens now.
Everyone who remains in the chat and is still called Ben is to be trusted, although that is not.
That's praise indeed.
That's a big can of worms.
I suppose means that that Ben could potentially change his or their name back too. There he is, Ben. There we go. But no, that's true. That's true. Good. Okay. Certainly, about 12 people have vanished from the participants list, and I don't understand why. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Why anything? Right, we're nearly.
Same.
I don't really know why. Yeah, it's probably best to remain skeptical of Ben's, as not that Ben recommends. Although the name means good, doesn't it? But names, of course, can be deceptive. The name Adolf means I won't kill too many people. It doesn't.
If only it did.
Name Gaga means I am not a songstress, so one never knows. Actually, Lady Gaga took her name from the Queen song Radio Gaga, apparently, extraordinarily. In one's mind, there is no obvious link between the musical genres. I don't know, I'm imagining it. I think I didn't make that up. I think that's why she's called. Look, we haven't got time. You're about to be killed. Animals love food. It's one of the things they're famous for. This guy's the mammoth. Never had a chance to sample John West tuna before. John West, popular brand of tuna. For those of you who watch No More Jockeys, you will be hearing more about John West. The smell might seduce him, or it might get stuck in his throat. These, your final thoughts, run through. Ominous, the way that sentence ends.
Yeah. We died.
Oh dear.
Oh.
That was a long episode.
Oh.
Shit.
Oh, twin
This is appalling. You've escaped from the house by, it looks like, your friend of mine, death. I'll let this play out, but I'm really sad. I know you offered your tutor, Michelle, but actions have consequences. In the original Choose Your Own Adventure books, we quite often die. Dramatic.
Oh, well,
We kiss our finger at the page so we can just like turn back.
Yes, if we cry, we'd be alive, says Camille. Sometimes it's worth sitting and weeping. Have you people learned nothing since August?
No.
Bit of a downer. All right, we'll see you again. Thanks for yes, the dog does it all there, really. What happens now? Don't worry, I know what happens now. We should have bribed it. Oh, hang on. Are we back? Oh, maybe it was a joke. But wait, as the eternal darkness starts to crowd up somebody, that was stressful. Oh my God, that was nearly the end. You're conscious of someone yanking on your arm, someone or something. You wake up, thank fuck, in a cave, nature's house, if you will. And you have at this point. Dear me. Who knows if you were always going to die there because of a little joke by me and
Neanderthals struggled with coronaviruses also.
The bot showing porn again.
That's right, yeah. Not entirely been able to. I mean, we'll like what we like. It's me. Well, you're trapped with this Neanderthal who, yes, recently came down with the dreaded virus, unfortunately. Remarkable moment, that was. That's not David O'Doherty or whoever that was does unfortunately have COVID. Yes, El, but the video. It's fine. It's just meant he's had to cancel the rest of his run here in Melbourne. But there we go. He's fine. He is fine. I did not come into contact with him, of course, for that video. We used telephones. I like tech. He needs something to do. You rub your eyes. You're still alive. You're still not in the house. You were looking at a man, him, with no clothes on. Not, to be fair, for the first time. Bit of fun. He makes a series of guttural noises. It's a caveman. Christ in Hong Kong. That's a generic exclamation of surprise. How can you repay him, you wonder? Well, there already seems to be something. He is gesturing urgently at the wall. You recognise the primitive you learned about at home. He seems to require help. Ben, you can ask something about the topic, but the way you keep asking that is still slightly like a what would, and also you keep misspelling things. And also, I retract my original thing about how you can trust everyone called Ben. No. But what's the like? What is this anyway? I don't understand why. Okay, nice petroglyphs. You think you know what petroglyphs are? There's a hand. Bison, I'm doing this manually, bird, and a mountain. I didn't go to drama school, I'm a comedian. Okay, here we go. So for those of you who are new, sometimes you have to do these fucking puzzles. So what we got here? Hand equals bird, bird hand equals mountain. What does a bison equal? You have to somehow put a value on, and your options are tree. Do mountain again. What do you think I am, Sue? Some sort of entertainer? Mountain! I'm quite a good dad, I think. Tree, river, sky, rock. And by the way, Matt completed this while I was asleep, so I don't even know the answer. Good luck, fuckers. I'm going to get coffee.
Where do you even start with this?
Don't know what that was.
That was by Botty Ben.
I see.
on that?
I think it was the right decision just to continue regardless of these occasional strange noises, especially because anything can happen in the house. But what normally can't happen in the house is, what I can do now is send what we call a text message to Alex, who can, I think, weed this bot out by name visually. By a text message, I actually mean a WhatsApp message. WhatsApp's popular. I haven't got time to, but the chat app.
Oh,
I think Facebook now. There you are. You heard the man. If you
What's up, baby?
Wow.
that guy will be gone soon, I think. Look, I've been saying it for years. If you spam audio, I'm kicking you. I'm V sorry. Kiss. If you spam audio, I'm kicking you. So I'm just talking to the bot in here. I don't care, mate. You don't come here and spam audio. Why isn't the coffee machine working? Oh, it's because I unplugged it to plug the laptop in.
Electric.
Technical prowess.
I don't know if you know, but there are only 3 sockets in Australia. Oh, man. Dear me. The good thing is mine is the sort of personality that nearly always benefits from having caffeine because I'm normally quite low energy. I did give caffeine up as a New Year's resolution. I pretty much have stuck to it. I drink decaf these days. But as I say, this is silly o'clock.
Excuses.
Has the sun rose yet?
Yes, yes. Well, the sun is up. It is light outside. It's actually quite overcast here. Really, and for those of you with me in Australia, by the way, or in other time zones, well, I always talk as if everyone's in the UK. But that's amazingly, life is too short for decaf, says Shelley. Yeah, but sometimes with caffeine, life also seems short, Shelley. In the up alarmingly. But the thing is, it's not like I'm going back to bed. After this, I'm going on Australian television to talk about association football or soccer. Strange life. And I think there's enough juice in the laptop that I can actually put it on my table now and sit there like, as I say, a proper person. All right. No, Matt, they have not confused me for my brother. I also know about football. I just don't operate in a professional footballing realm. I was born before my brother and taught him football. Hey, it's true. My brother is a world authority on football. Right, a lot of people, by a huge majority, the group is going to go for River here. The thing is, Michelle, I know people here call it soccer. Obviously, I do also enjoy Australian rules football, but this is a kind of Anglo-centric TV station, so I think they will be saying, if you spam audio, I'm kicking you.
Don't forget the kiss at the end.
That's what I like. I mean, it's not easy to be sure how well you're communicating with a person. By the way, you solved that puzzle successfully. Don't know how, because I didn't understand it, as I say. With a person born significantly from the advent of language, as well as Weetabix, glue, pants, boxes, carpet, etc. But he seems happy. He holds out his hand. He places in your hand, you have to picture the ravaged face of O'Doherty doing this, a circular wood cutting, no bigger than an average-sized vole, and closes your fingers over it. The skin is already disintegrating. You want to say something. You can't, though. Whoops. You are traveling through time, back the way you came, back to the house, back to the jukebox. You look down at the carved trinket. It is, when you think about it, a lot like the letter O. Interesting. Is it? Hope so. Depends what you're interested in. Now, you're back at the jukebox. You may be starting to gather that the jukebox has the power to send you to different temporal realms or time provinces. Once more, by the way, don't choose the same song again, or the same thing will happen, obviously. we did talk about this last time, whether it was possible to have a trick where you have to choose something, you might remember this, a second time, and the second time is right. And we've worked out how to do that, but that is not, it was too complicated to do that here, because this is already quite complicated. So definitely, that trick will not happen this month. I could be lying, but I'm not. Okay, cool. Yes, Sister Sledge is almost ready, but in my absolute dream world, you choose one of the other two remaining options. I think I have a solution which has been suggested as usual by Matt, so I'm just going to see if I can do that. Okay. Yeah, right, 1 second. I'm trying to think what happens if you play. Oh yeah, I know. Okay, fine. Yeah, good. No, the sound of a coffee machine will not be classed as spam. You can sort of tell when things are spam because it sort of goes, and then a man called Ben asked to be included in the meeting. I think by now, if Ben was a real person, he would have come to the conclusion that this is not a normal Zoom meeting by any stretch. No, don't worry about muting us. Honestly, if you're the sort of person to think, should I mute myself? Am I behaving appropriately here? Then I think by definition it is fine. I think our problem is, I keep coming back to it. Let's see, my problem was, I'm sort of in my pants. I'm not now, but at the point, and it's like 3 minutes to 6 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm getting messages saying things like, we have trolls and we have spammers. And really, on my best form, I still struggle to find a solution to that. But again, thanks, Matt. By the way, if I have a question about the topic as a joke, I won't know whether it's a joke. I think it means kick you out, but for now I'm going to have it as a catchphrase. If you spam, I'm kicking you.
Yeah.
Oh, is there? Oh shit! What? Yeah, fucking I'm sure forward, man. Right, well, I'm as Sam suggests, I'm back on the floor. Okay, thanks, God. The table's like, I mean, that's the table. I can touch it from the floor. Christ, what's fine on the floor? It is amazing stuff. Is this all fine now? Is that I've gone?
Yeah.
That is fucking extraordinary because the table is no more than a hand's distance. So that's the floor. Fine, floor. Oh, don't you worry, Hazel. I've done more uncomfortable things than this in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the shortest distance I've seen between two markedly different Wi-Fi quality areas. There we go. Right, well, it looks a lot as if we're going for Rock Me Amadeus by Falco, which is a German language 80s hit about Mozart and one of the strangest songs ever to be #1. Which it was in the UK when I was, I think, about 5 or 6. Yeah, is the wood of the table blocking the Wi-Fi? Australia's broadband is slightly slower in general, but, you know, quite a lot of stuff is made of wood even down here. You'd think they'd have a way around that by now. Nonetheless, here we go. You press the button to select one of Austria's biggest ever songs, a mad tribute to composer Mozart, whose full name will one day become important. And no more jockeys. Can't remember if that's a spoiler or if you've seen that. Harsh, exhilarating synth noise fills the air. Here we go. Amadeus, Amadeus. You get ready to shout along with the lyrics. Eva superstar, Eva so populaire. It's a batshit song. But wait, reality is blurring around you, as it so often does in this accursed place. The room is gone. Where are you now? Again, a transition. Here we go. Oh, but actually, here we don't go because that is all. It's difficult to describe the song, except that well, we haven't got time. Where are you now? It was. It came out of nowhere. Falco were never heard again, or was never heard again from certainly in the UK. Although you were in a paved courtyard, handsome columns either side of you, a legion of soldiers at rest on a grassy really area a little way away, crushed alive. Have you gone back to Cramond, the Roman settlement of around AD 70? Typical.
No.
Oh, I remember what happens now.
Ubi Ventus. Unis is Novice.
Romans.
The closed captions are going to be such good quality. When
Oh, I
you
forgot
look
about
back
that.
at this. You've had Islamic broadband already.
Well, fair enough. If I had access to Islamic broadband and it was faster than this, I'd obviously go for it. And quite complicated. I don't think you can't convert that quickly. Unde venis or venis, unus es nobis. That's what you think you heard that Roman said. That Roman incidentally did that from her holiday. Fair play. She was on a water park master. You studied Latin for 2 years before you were pulled out of the posh school for setting fire to that boy's maths book and also the boy himself. Who are you? By the way, for those of you who are new, you have quite a complicated backstory here, which a little bit like The Simpsons has many mutually contradictory and impossible. You think it means, who are you? Are you one of us?
No.
It feels pretty important that you convince this mysterious lady that you are one of them. You look down at your outfit. When in Rome, there was, this isn't Rome, it's the settlement which became Edinburgh. But you suddenly convinced that if you stare hard enough at yourself, they will morph into a mirror image of the woman's clothes and you'll fit in. But the soldiers have started marching in front of her. What did she have on? Oh no, it's an observation test. Are you going to put yourself in a horizontal striped top or a vertical striped shorts? Vertical striped top, horizontal striped shorts. Oops. Oh, fuck is right, Bethan. That's the least of it.
No, we got this. It's okay.
Oh no.
I suppose there's a way you could cheat. Is there? I don't know. Anyway, don't cheat. Just vote. What did you see? Which of these did you see? Your life may depend on it, or not.
God. Maybe
you saw it so quickly. Oh man! And there were things distracting you. The last thing you thought was, I better make note of this because I'll soon have to dress like Lou Sanders as a Roman. Yes, of course. The background. You're only human. And the background was spectacular, to be absolutely fair. She did that at very little notice in, your friend of mine, Spain. Right. So by now you'll have gathered that there's one remaining video which I've not dug out yet, and I'm going to try and do that now. While you vote. Remember, you need to try to remember what the her outfit was. Dear me. Just can't. Okay. I can't see the votes. Your hair is looking absolutely resplendent, Mark, says Tuna Fan. That's very nice of you. Thank you. I always like it when someone puts in the chat box, by the way, I voted wrong, as Ben Friend. A significant consensus for vertical striped top at this point. It looks like there are already enough votes that's going to win. Yes, could have been a compliment from a bot, of course. Well, you'll take them where you can get them. Hope everyone's well, by the way. The sun is actually outside now, but where you are, if you're in the UK, I suppose it's just after 10 p.m. And well, yeah, actually, this won't go on as late as I previously thought, but there is a little bit of time traveling to do. Dark as my soul, screams Shelley. Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
I mean, yeah. Shit, the new Wordle. God, there's so much to do in there. Hang on, I've done it. I did it before I went to sleep. Okay, scratch that. There will be no spoilers. No, I did it in 3, however, but it was luck. 3 is either luck or brilliance. I've said this. but a lot of the time it's luck. It's weird what Wordle boasts people make, but I've said my piece on this. So most people think
Wordle 306 or 307.
I think I've done 307 now, I think, because obviously they
no spoilers then.
Australian midnight, yeah.
Time travel.
That's right. Because one of the funny subtext, or not exactly subtext, but one of the funny things is I sort of am 9 hours ahead of you in a sense. Time travel.
What's the future like?
It's all right. It's sunny, for example. And
Has Bojo resigned yet?
not over here, no. But actually, in a sense, there is. Maybe it is a sign of hope. There is the right-wing Prime Minister here is about to face a general election. So there you go. An election's been called here for, I think it's May the 21st. So they are campaigning here. Scott Morrison's not as bad as Boris Johnson. He's just he's more stupid, but he's also not as harmful in a way because he's too stupid to really do anything.
And that's the politics segment done.
That's right, yes. So it's not all fun. Sometimes it's hard hitting. Right, here we go. You find yourself, oh, by the way, I don't know whether that was, we don't know whether it was right or not, but spoiler, it was. Well done. You find yourself in a vast outdoor arena, hundreds of pairs of eyes, hundreds of faces, actually bodies as well. In other words, people, they still have those things in those days. Togas as far as the eye can see.
Toga, toga, toga.
Yes, you can, if you like, chant toga. Everyone's got wine and dormice to eat. They're speaking without definite articles. They're killing Christians. They're bathing together and fucking on the steps of the amphitheater. Yeah, this is Roman, right? Wow. In order to save your life, bellows the woman suddenly. In English? Or can you just understand Latin now? You must, in front of us, solve this. Yes,
my favourite sequence.
Mathematical puzzle. You can't believe it. Still puzzles, even in the past. Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh, no.
It's genuinely my favourite mathematical sequence.
This is unbelievable. Even in a nerd environment like this, I didn't think I'd hear somebody blurt out genuinely my favourite mathematical sequence.
You don't have to.
Fibonacci. We got a second favourite though.
I've got like maybe a top 5. Yes, Holly. How are people getting laid and we're just expected to do maths? Look, this is what we've all read about Roman times. They're always in the bath. They're always having sex. They're always drinking wine. I've just look. The next one. Get this math puzzle done, and you can absolutely screw any Roman that crosses your path. Consent's important.
So it's 21. Yeah.
Shout out to Ben's friend Isla, who again says, "I do believe I got it wrong again." Apologies. This is how elections go wrong, of course. But I quite like having a natural corrective who keeps fucking. I don't know if I should be amazed, but yes, I'm sorry, Lily. I don't know why it says caca, but I think that would be shit in French, isn't it? I don't understand how. I suppose I understand how, but the speed at which people identified the Fibonacci sequence was surprising to me as a non-mathematician. Nonetheless, you've still got to remember how Roman numerals work in order to piece together V111 plus X111, I suppose.
It's the only
It's your favourite sequence. You can see it.
This is unbelievable. Everyone, I mean, I'm glad you're getting it, because otherwise we'd have to, you just have to try again. And that was quite a boring bit. But nonetheless, and of course, now that it's winning, everyone else could just vote for that. And I personally don't mind. You've got some more ground to cover still. A lot of nerds in here. I mean, I knew that to some extent, but nonetheless. If you'd, Alex did the Wordling 4 in other news. And in other news, this only applies to people who are familiar with children's television. My sister, Tex, just found out Daddy Pig is 34. I thought at least 40.
Oh, Daddy Pig can't be younger than me.
Does she mean the actor is 34? Or she can't mean the character of Daddy Pig in Peppa Pig is 34. That's bullshit. That's 8 years younger than me. That's only just older than her. And she's my younger sister. My sister's in New Zealand, so we've been talking quite, well, we always talk quite a lot, but I'll try and get clarification on what she means. As in the character is, I mean, all of us dorks here, and yet we have not managed to escape the house. To be fair, certain things are weighted against you escaping the house. Hazel says, I popped to the bathroom and now I'm back. Don't worry, Hazel, they got you covered. Yeah, it is difficult to escape the house, famously. You actually are repeatedly escaping the house here, but only by entering the Edinburgh of different past realms. Okay. Silence. The silence seems eternal. It isn't, though. It's probably about 20 seconds tops. The crowd explodes, cheering, throwing goblets in the air, waggling their dicks about. There you are, Holly. It's better than nothing. I wasn't drunk writing any of this. That's what it should concern you, I think. I was drunk doing the Christmas one, but then the couplets still coupleted. The woman presses something into your hand. Oh, my favourite bit of the past is still to come, by the way. It is a little amulet, you think, made of what looks like cast steel. It is the shape of a bolt of lightning, but nobody would make a pretty object out of something so evil. If you're just catching up, it doesn't matter. No, it's a Z. The letter Z. You thank her. You have an O and a Z. Interesting. But she's gone. Or maybe you are gone. Everything is. You are back in the house. Well, that was a trip. Narrator. You stand once more in front of the jukebox, wondering where the hell you might end up next. Right, 2 songs to go. At this point, it doesn't matter which one you choose, because I don't think I can play the video that attaches itself to We Are Family, but I will describe it to you, and it's only, as the other video, about 8 seconds. And I'll stick it on the Twitter afterwards, so that the person who did it for me didn't waste her time. To be fair, if that's all that goes wrong, given that I'm communicating across the world with my assistants and
Islamic broadband.
And I've got Islam. Is the broadband still holding up?
Yes.
No.
It hasn't messed up since you sat on the floor.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I do accept that. It's just I can't emphasize enough how close the floor is to the seat that I'd ideally be sitting on.
Is it
Very
because the floor's
important that you're
nearer to
uncomfortable.
England?
I suppose the floor is the floor nearer to England? Yes. No, I suppose you're right. Yeah. The thing is, you think by now there'd be a national broadband system in this country, really? Oh yes. Someone on Twitter asking to get back in, but they can't DM you. Well, we will try and let anyone in that. It's because the meeting's still locked. At this point, we can probably unlock the meeting and admit them. I say we.
When there's dick waggling going on, Mark.
Don't let the Bens in.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get the Bens.
It's been a while since we've
That was a diving
Where the
joke.
Bens?
But I did, yeah, appreciate it.
The thing is, why? What is? I understand some of the uses of bots in order to. What is gained by anybody creating something like that? To like what?
Turmoil.
Yes, who wants more turmoil in this fucking diseased planet? Sorry, I'm just getting some juice.
Keep it light.
Okay, if I slug juice directly out of the receptacle, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
It's only me that drinks. Yeah. Oh, that was ever so nice. Yeah, but if you're bored, just there's other things you can do on the internet. There's games, porn, there's YouTube. Anyway, still, it's fine. Yes, to be fair, it is true that people did this with like homeschooling, and in fact, Peppa Pig, the children's cartoon, was hijacked by some people who did obscene stuff with it, which is sort of funny until you have children. I wasn't a victim of this. Actually, it still is quite funny, to be fair. Right.
Peppa Pig references.
Like, even if you're sowing the seeds of awfulness everywhere, at least be creative like that. Fuck up a cartoon or something. Yeah, to be fair, I couldn't hear the audio. I could just hear, or I couldn't hear what it was. Right, quite tight here between My Way, the seminal funeral dirge. In fact, I think we've come to a. Sorry, but this person keeps DMing, and we will sort that out. And I feel really sorry for Ramsey, but at the same time, here we are, disco time. You start to sway, you may do that if you like, to We Are Family, released a year before the birth of Mark Watson, and famously the first dance at the wedding of Alex Horne. But before you can even, that will be more fun for some people than others, but that's the case of everything. No, Alex was not married before Mark was born. Alex was married. Was there. Alex, no, Horn also did not marry his or anybody's. Well, no, she is someone's sister.
Timeline going on here.
Your sister, obviously. But before you, your sister, fuck it. Before you can even scramble onto an imaginary dance floor. ... Transition. The order of ages seems backward. I'm the kid. Key is 90. Maybe it's a compliment. Does it mean that I seem the most? It can't mean that I seem the most mature, unless, mind you, there was that things. People's perceptions of the three of us have changed since that business with Horn in the bath. There's no doubt about that. To be fair, my perception of Horn altered that night. The floor is gone. The walls are gone. Everything is bloody gone. When your vision starts to clear again, you still seem to be in the house, but there are other people here. Other people. At last, you're just about to say hello. When wee bang. Oh, that was acting. Oh no. The other people here don't even seem surprised. There are more explosions. Well, just your luck. You've gone and landed in the bloody Second World War. Oh, we're getting close to the present day. It wasn't fireworks. Yeah, I don't particularly like.
Again.
I don't dislike lightning. Fireworks fine. It's just they remind me of lightning. Storm. I don't mind fireworks from a balcony. I do mind them from a Malcolmy. In other words, I don't really like watching them. I think Malcolmy is a word, but anything is a word. Alchemy rhymes with alchemy. It doesn't matter. See, in normal jockeys, you can just rhyme something with something else, and nobody. Well, no one ever minds anything. Right, we're in the Second World War. This is now. Hang on. This is where we should be. Yes, right. Oh fuck, that's a good idea. So I've got a video which you ought to be watching now, but I can't get it out of my Twitter DMs. But at least I can hold it up to the. Yeah, this is the most primitive thing I've done. Right, hang on. Christ almighty.
Like my mum would.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right. This is work. In a way, this worked. In another way,
we are at war, and our code cracking machine is absolutely jiggered.
Well, she said, we are at war and our code cracking machine is absolutely jiggered. This is Eleanor Morton. Yes, the lovely Eleanor Morton. That was patronising. The excellent Eleanor Morton. I hate when people say the lovely woman, and I've done it. But it's still 20:07 in the morning. This austere-looking lady is a World War II code cracker. Like, no, you said it, Eleanor. Like like the squadron of women at Bletchley who famously shored up the Allied code cracking, but then quite a lot of credit was given to men because of the patriarchy. But now we celebrate the woman. Anyway, yes, some of you will, I know. I also wouldn't mind being called lovely, but sometimes, you know, someone will bring a comedian on by saying the lovely Felicity Ward or something, and Felicity many things. Anyway, you don't feel equal to the task of trying to fix a code breaking machine. You once spent almost the whole of 2009 on a single Sudoku, but you want to help. Backstory. To be fair, that was 12 years before you became a prisoner in the house. Would be great to win the war. Of course, you're pretty sure they will, but you can't know. What if this time it doesn't work out that way? What if the future goes down a different path?
Oh, no.
Well, I know this sort of thing. If you've not seen the Netflix series Dark, literally stop this and watch it. I've never seen time so movingly. But anyway, well, you wouldn't end up getting stuck in the house, or would you? We don't know, do we? We don't know how time works. But you've got to balance that against, you know, the possible enslavement of Western Europe by fascism, no Dad's Army, etc. For those of you who aren't British, Dad's Army is a strange old sitcom about, set in the war, which old people think is what war is actually like. You follow, it's a long story, but old British people are nonetheless not old enough to remember the war, so they sentimentalize the war, thinking it's what made the country great. Bye, people. You follow the woman. You follow the woman to what must previously have been a child's bedroom, now repurposed. There are various toys. A rabbit or wabbit, depends how you pronounce it. A wooden stethoscope. A gaily painted spinning top. A football. The bust machine, the code-breaking machine, sits sadly among all this. 2 men and a woman crouched over notebooks, pencils in hands. The word they're puzzling over is ramp. Jerry's got his feet. One guy. This is great writing. Jerry is what people called the Germans in the war. You cast your eyes around the room. Maybe it's just because you're going to be back here 75 years from now. Oh, even I like this. But you, time, Jesus Christ. But you have a strong feeling as if the answer is behind one of these toys. Which are you going to lift up? Okay, stethoscope, football, spinning top, or Ickle Bunnykins, the rabbit. I've never read or seen, this will sound odd if you're under about 30, but any of the Harry Potters, because I'm just slightly the wrong generation. But because I have a young child now, a daughter, I saved it, and now I'm reading her the Harry Potters. And with no, I mean, she knows what happens. Everyone knows apart from me. It's sort of for me. And we do it in a series of bedtime stories. They're very long though. So anyway, in the last book, there was a bit where Harry was able to do a little bit of this time traveling, and he sat in what would become the office of Dumbledore, but it was the young Dumbledore, and it was Dumbledore's predecessor. Anyway, I fucking liked it.
You know, you can outsource all the reading to Stephen Fry.
I have heard audiobooks exist. Yes, by the way, I'm aware that the reputation of Harry Potter has been enormously compromised by the recent acts and views of J.K. Rowling, but yeah, my daughter doesn't know that yet. Long story. My 7-year-old just finished them. Yeah, this is the thing. As I said, she's seen the films and she could easily read the books now. Well, not easily. She certainly could read the books. Or, as you say, she could listen to... But I don't know. Would you rather have me or Stephen Fry read to you? Don't answer that.
Oh, Stephen Fry.
Or, Fry reads the official audiobook. Yeah. I say official. I've recorded mine just in case anyone wants to buy it.
Can you do that as a download as well?
Can I release me reading the entire works of? I don't know. I think there probably have some copyright implications if I do that, but we'll see. Now this is really tight between Bunnykins and stethoscope here, and for good reason. The poll is ending. I think it's going to be the stethoscope, which suggests to me that. Well, yeah. God, there are some clever arseholes in this chat.
Not me. Not me.
No, but enough. Well, no. Just under half of you are clever. I wouldn't have got it, but I would never have got these things. Mostly the brains behind these actual puzzles are math. Mark, is you telling us you're the next Doctor? I haven't heard that I am, but I haven't heard I'm not, if that helps. Yeah, the stethoscope is the correct answer. If you'd chosen any of the other 3 options, basically, you'd have had to do the puzzle again. But there was a funny bit where the guys would look at you like, you're a dick. But that's all you meant. Oh, yeah, we need the other video. Right, we're nearly there.
Yay.
Yes, there you are. It was merely a case of moving forward 2 letters to spell out the word doctor. And if you hadn't got it, is right. Whoa is right. Everything you're saying, all the decisions you're making are legit.
Is that why the Doctors' Union is called the BMA?
I can't think.
Yeah. So, yeah. Someone was doing it on a shit typewriter. Yes, I know you're clever, Caroline, but I also enjoy the no context accounts. 2 letters out. The machine wasn't that broken. The proto-hackers look at you in awe. Their ringleader takes you urgently into another room, one you almost recognise from, well, the future. Hang on. Oh, that's me. Hi. This is the first time I've seen all of your faces since we had to jizz about to get rid of those hackers. Right, well, the other video now, you might not be able to hear this anyway, but I'll tell you what she says. This is a poignant bit. There she is again.
If you are as you see from the future, then tell me, in your time, are things better?
No.
Well, I don't know what.
Find better.
Yes, well, you have a moral dilemma now, which you're going to vote on.
We don't have a fascist dictator trying to control the world.
Yeah.
Well,
you reckon?
I think that was satire. I think that was some satire. You guys, you can almost write this.
Politics there.
Right, we'll go back. Oh, man. Oh, I'm much too big on my own screen now. Is this what you've been looking at? God, it's lucky there was nothing. There's just a sort of odd piece of corporate art behind me, luckily. But of course, famously, I'm on the floor. That's the fridge, if you like, that sort of thing.
Fridge.
Fridge hype.
Why not?
Show us your table.
All here for the
And the
fridge
coffee
content.
Well, last time I went anywhere near the table, the broadband went to shit, didn't it? So I don't think we'll do that. I might can I show you out of the window. It's well, actually you'll see things you should not. But anyway, it's sunny out there.
What is out there?
Nothing bad. You should not just like clothes and stuff. But we've all seen clothes before.
Not in the house.
Yeah, this is mad. My sister sent me this, and sure enough, you don't know if you can see that, but anyway, according to Wikipedia, Daddy Pig is in fact 30 years old. That is some bullshit, but worth remembering for no more jockeys. Except I can't play one of the pet pigs because one of the players probably doesn't know who that is. Okay. Not the one who normally doesn't, to be fair. Horn will know. Horn just doesn't know who any pop stars or other famous people are. Surprisingly, he's in them. You look into the eager, questioning eyes of this woman whose grandchildren may be your contemporaries. If she has kids, it's hard to bring it up. Never ask a woman if she wants children, in my experience, or plans to. What are you going to tell her about the future their efforts are buying? This is, for the first time, perhaps, in the house, a poignant bit. Things are perfect, things are better. It's fiddly to explain, or still loads of fascism. Yes, I think it's fiddly to explain. Well, I'm not going to tell you what we want you to choose, but if you went for still loads of fascism, there'd be a sad moment. Look, Charlotte, you're right. Things are a bit fucked up, but yeah. I think not one person, as Mika has said, has gone for things are perfect. Look, things probably will never be perfect, will they? But things, at least, I think if I'm in if I'm in the Second World War and I'm watching people attempt to, I would at least say to them, it's definitely worth winning this war. It's not going to be really, really bad in the 21st century. And Hazel says, I think this is probably the most accurate answer. If we told her the truth, she wouldn't believe us. And also, you'd have to catch her up with so much stuff. You'd have to explain, I don't know, where do you start? All these Mission Impossible films. I don't know. It's probably not loads and loads and loads of football, loads of everything. Jimmy Savile turns out, mind you, she doesn't even know who that is. No, I think it's very hard in the 40s, actually. You think that the 40s is not that long ago, but they had television. But yeah, not just Taskmaster. You'd have to talk them through who Horn is, his struggle to initially get commissioned by Channel 4, only for Channel 4 to back out of it, leaving Dave to pounce. And then after Dave had made it into a national institution, Channel 4, embarrassingly for them, buying it back for a colossal amount of money. In one of, but not only, the greatest commissioning errors of Channel 4's existence. Of course, Channel 4 also stole the Bake Off of the BBC in a similar manner. Anyway, but this is the point. She doesn't know what any of these things are. They did have the BBC in the Second World War, but even that is mostly just radio. God, imagine the programme and that's just telly. She doesn't know what Harry Potter is. Oh, the past, eh? Again, if you're a No More Jockeys fan, in a certain amount of time, you will. No, that is too much of a spoiler. But there's a bit more. There is a game you will see in the future dominated by talk of the old days, which eventually costs one player their life in the game.
Life.
Life in the game. One of the three of us loses because of it. Yes, BBC 4 cancelling We Need Answers is up there in history's greatest injustices. Everyone that saw it loved it, but there were only 17 of them. More people watch it now. Bittersweet. Oh my God, yeah, the succulent Chinese meal guy. Wordle. Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire, and all the things that are in Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire. Actually, yeah, I suppose you could play her that, and that would catch her up with everything from 1988. But it's really fucking fast. Belgians in the Congo, Doris Day, Brooklyn, the World Series. Which, you know what baseball is? Of course, the World Series was already. We don't have time. All right. I don't reckon many people in 1940s Britain knew about baseball. Okay. She nods. She seems, well done. You've gone for, it's fiddly to explain. Presumably the word fiddly lands with this wartime person. She seems happy with the response, or at least grateful. She presses something into your palm. It's one of the keys from the Enigma machine. We won't need this anymore. My name's Eleanor, by the way. Good luck. And of course, played by a real life Eleanor. In other news, my mother-in-law was called Eleanor. I mean, still is, but yeah. She was really lovely. Still is. You begin to reply. You glance down at the Scrabble-like tile in your hand. E. You try again. Good luck to you. You ask yourself again whether it really is luck or whether everything is predetermined, fixed. Who can know? The fact is, you're back in the house and a pretty limited choice now. It comes down to my way then, my way please. Okay, fine, my way, or my way plus. Matt's done that on the fly. Yes, by the way, you now have as Zoe, you now have the letters of the name Zoe, as Zoe fell, among others, have noticed. Could be Zone, you're right, Lydia. Z-O-E. Interesting. Is it interesting? I don't know. I keep asking whether things are interesting and fun, but I'm sort of asking myself. It's nice that I can now hear you and see some of you. Right. When this poll, so actually, if you want to start crying now, then in 2 minutes we can play my way in and play the fourth temporal segment. I think this is my favorite because it's my favorite period of history coming up. I'm sort of glad this played out this way. You don't always have to have wine. You can just drink juice.
Juice is just early wine.
Precisely. Juice is just wine. What it wants to be wine when it grows up. I've said it before, but what's probably alarming is that a lot of No More Jockeys is played sober with coffee. So that make of that what you will. Here we go. Funeral dirge. I've never liked this song, but I've never died about it yet. Most overrated song of all time? No. The most overrated song of all time is in my head, but I once said this on Twitter and people were so angry. Okay.
Say it anyway.
Say it.
No,
say
I will not. Very.
Say it. Go on.
It's a very popular song by a very popular British band who I very popularly do not like. Maybe I'll slip it in a clue to it later. Right.
Coldplay.
Hey Jude.
Wonderwall.
None of those. I don't like. I don't mind Imagine. I generally think Coldplay get too rough a time of it, but I also don't love them. And when people used to compare them to Radiohead, those people were mad. Okay, we are now in the people
so
don't do that anymore.
Then.
There's not. I have no further comments. Oh, hang on, someone has said it. People on Twitter were angry, says Hazel. Amazed. Yeah, it's why I have an expression. Some music you're angry. Well, depends who you are. I've certainly made some people angry in my life. Right. Regrets. I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I'm locked inside a house. I've got a knife. I'm racked with tension. Situation. Amazing, isn't it? It's amazing how the lyrics line up with the house. Except a lot of you are too young to know. Those are not the real lyrics to My Way. That's a bit of fun. I think you could have been a songwriter or poet. Yes, this is I don't know any poets though. This is the perfect song situation. Except, whoops, you seem to be tripping. By now, it'll be less surprising to you that every time you play a song, this happens. You're no longer in the house. That's got to be good. You're in a castle. That could also be good. Jesus on toast. Is it Edinburgh Castle? You recognise the magnificent setting. Yep, that's where you are. But when are you? Oh, hang on, I've whined on about Dark here. I didn't need to say it in real life. When are you? That's good, isn't it? You think briefly about Dark, the German language Netflix film, which despite flaws was one of the most brilliant. Hang on, who is this? A man is approaching. He speaks in English. I don't know if this video will work. Looks like it might. Oh, hang on. No, that's me, isn't it? Hi.
That's you.
It's the video of you.
Yeah, no. The video is of an olden times man who, these days, is called Alasdair. But
have you got it on your phone?
No, we have. I think we do actually have this in the bank. This is the first. Hang on. If not, I can again. I mean, it's about 8 seconds long. It doesn't really matter. It's just. Yes, if anyone is Christian or I mean absolutely no offense by these various remarks with Jesus in odd places. It's just the way I swear. Well, it's one of the ways I swear. I might not have sent this to Matt anyway, but hang on. Shit. All right, fine. It's fine. Yeah, I can do it. Can I do it? Yes. Oh fuck! I nearly brought the completed Wordle up there. That was.
Is it Jesus?
Spoilers.
Oh, hang on. No, bloody hell. He texted it to me. Christ. All right. Well, basically, don't worry. We'll crack on. I'll show you the video after. I don't know in what format. Maybe he emailed it to me. It's not easy in life, is it? I'll tell you. His name is Alasdair, and we'll do full credits afterwards. But he's an extraordinary maker of online videos, and his name is double-barreled. And because I'm tired, I can't remember it. Alasdair Burdett.
Beckett-King.
Yay.
And it's amazing, but basically it's there's medievally backdrop, and he's got long hair, and he just says hello. It's about 6 or 7 seconds, so it's fine. You can imagine it. We'll go back to the text, Matt. I'll find the video and we'll play it in. Perhaps we'll do a post credits what you could have seen. But it is,
hang on.
Here we go.
No, this one. Oh well, medieval times, late medieval by the look of it. You can hear a lute, laughter, poetry, and early pentameter. A wench walked past with a pig's head on a platter. It stinks. Mark Watson will love this. Well, medieval time. Why are you thinking about him? Just because you've heard him talk about this time period in his art? Or because, as you venture into the court of the king, you can see what almost looks like a stand-up? Know ye the works of the poet? That's what the video man was going to ask you. Of course, Geoffrey Chaucer, the first stand-up in a sense, the first performer, the architect of the modern language, literature's greatest genius, Watson's mastermind specialist subject, one of, done it twice, other one was the Football World Cup. Polymath. I won with Chaucer, though, second on the football one, thanks to Lucy fucking Porter. If this was any other episode of the house, I have one of the few things, prizes that I display is an enormous mastermind thing. But anyway, it's vulgar to wave one's prizes about. Everyone that knows, watches jockeys knows that. This dates is somewhere between roughly 1380 and 1400. You weren't aware Chaucer ever made it to the Scottish court, but maybe he's on tour. Yeah, yes, wanting to fit in. Then answer this quaint question, says the man. You're almost sure quaint is the origin of the modern C word, but there's no time for that sort of fun. Which of the pilgrims, asks your new friend with a grin, telleth the worst of the Canterbury tales? This is gettable if you've ever heard or read any of the tales, or it's also guessable, and also, like with most of the puzzles, it didn't really matter. Not even in the sense that you have to. So your choices are the Knight's Tale, the Merchant's Tale, the Nun's Priest's Tale, or fuck, Chaucer himself. One of these is the worst of the Canterbury Tales.
As in, it's really rubbish.
Fuck me. There's a hot air balloon out there. What?
Bristol. Yeah, we sent them from Bristol.
Show us.
That's really nice. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Can I? Oh, I don't think. Oh shit. Oh, I've left it. No,
you're
okay. No charger.
Yeah.
Away from the table.
Oh yeah, we can see.
Oh.
3. Count them. Well, you don't need to count them. I've counted them. 3 balloons. Under twice is the fucking least of it, mate. I survived dry. Would you believe it? All this time here I haven't seen a single hot air balloon, and now we do this. And well.
Like, waiting for the bus.
Oh, hang on, what's this? Maybe this is the video. Yes, it is.
Oh, it's something.
No sound.
No sound yet, but we're getting close. You can see what I wanted to show it. I mean, look at the fucker. He's saying something like, know ye the works of the poet, but he's saying it in a medievally way.
You can dub over it, Mark.
Know ye the works of I reckon we've seen him now.
Yeah, the video didn't live up to the hype.
No, but to be fair, I didn't live down to the hype either. Wow. Interesting, this. Oh, this is actually divided. Almost no one's gone for the Knight's Tale, which would be a peculiar choice, of course, the longest and, technically most complex of the tales. Small lead for the Nun's Priest, a little-known tale. The Merchant's Tale, a funny tale about fucking in a tree, has a quarter of the votes, and a quarter of the votes also for Chaucer himself. As I say, this is a bit of fun; it doesn't matter. But, well, look, we're all I don't get to wang on about the old boy too much, really. People talk about Shakespeare so much, and my friend at uni used to call Chaucer Old Cup and Saucer to wind me up. It didn't work. Well, we were friends.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. I think, were they? It was not 2001. Well, I can't remember what happens if it's wrong. I can't remember whether. Sometimes you have to try again, but I don't think you will here. I think I remember what I did here. It's fine. The answer, well, yeah. The answer was actually going to be, it's probably too late now, but the answer was, fuck, Chaucer himself. Because in the Canterbury Tales, Chaucer puts himself in to the story and tells his tale really badly. Chaucer casts himself in the Canterbury Tales as a shit poet. It's a funny joke, but it's also the incredible early bit of postmodernism, a trick adopted by many, many people, including Mark Watson, which is a joke, of course. Right. Anyway, but I don't think it's going to matter here because the guy still likes you and trusts you, I think. You've still got, imagine that you're talking to this gentleman with the long hair. I went to a Chaucer discussion hosted by Terry Jones once. It was really dull. That's disappointing because Terry Jones was a fascinating man and Chaucer's fascinating, but sometimes interesting people do boring shit. That's what my dad said to me. The nun's priest tale. The 14th century man spits on the floor and briefly ponders his life expectancy, about 43. You can't tell if this was the right answer, but he offers you some of his ale, and whatever you've chosen, he was going to do a stupid medieval thing. Yes. The long-haired stranger claps enthusiastically. You remember gratefully that Chaucer put himself into the Canterbury Tales as a terrible poet in a very early example of the postmodern gag, which Mark Watson dotted up. Anyway, I didn't think we were going to bring that up. I wouldn't have done it twice. Hi. You listen to the great poet, customs official, and alleged sex offender for a little while, but your middle-aged friend pulls the sleeve. Since he licketh poetry, hasten to try the second riddle. If you've ever watched John Luke Roberts, by the way, and it didn't make sense to you, this is what he's up to. And by the way, alleged sex offender has 2 asterisks because there is some people think that Chaucer did bad things to a woman called Philippa, who became his wife, but because it's very, very olden days, wife was anyway. He's not officially cancelled. But also I have to acknowledge, despite being a great poet, he might have been, but in those days, right? What the fuck is there?
Statues of him that we can pull down?
No, of which I don't think there are, or at least. Well, and also I don't think nobody knows because obviously it's very difficult to. Well, history is very. Yeah, I read a whole book about this once, but then I've read quite a lot of books before I had children. Right now, what is this? This is tough. Chrysanta ordered Breed to make shoes for all her pets. Breed agreed, and in exchange, she'd cancel all his debts. This isn't me, this is Matt did this. Chrysanthus Pandurus had 2 pet ducks. Her monocerus's leg is fake. There's Rattus 6 and Spitters 2. How many shoes should old Breed make? And your choices, 46, 51, 56, or this is too much for you.
I was like, well, they're quick wins.
Again, it has been a maths heavy house, I admit, although your final thing to do will not be maths. Again, if you're new, you'll know, or you won't know, but you always get, as well as a cry, you always get a this is too much for me option, which here is expressed in Middle English. You can use, I don't know how easily Googleable this is. Oh, Matt, mind you, it's Matt that's written that. Okay. Yes, I suppose you can. You can use Google to determine what these creatures are and how many legs they're meant to have, I suppose. This is, I mean, yeah. This is not just a maths puzzle. It's a sort of maths meets, I don't know, medieval zoology puzzle. This is even for you guys. Yes, boop, boop, monocerous mug is absolutely right. Ah, man. As the months go by, it's not just that the in-jokes are quite dense and impenetrable, of course, is that they overlap with stuff from Taskmaster and No More Jockeys, and also all you guys have in-jokes that I don't even understand. So if you've been watching this thinking, I only understood about a quarter of it, I understood less than half of what was in the chat box. Hope that helps. 46 in the lead. No, hang on. Actually, more people have decided to abstain because it's too much for them, which is understandable. Does this make the show? I think. Oh, hang on. No. Wow, this is exciting now. 51 with a narrow lead from 46, and this is too much for me has gone down into bronze medal position. 2 minutes to go. I got it wrong. I think I missed out the pandarus frowny face. We've all done it, Tanya. This is devilish. As I said, Matt wrote this puzzle and sent it to me, and it took me. Look, well, Bethan's shown they're working, and that. Well done, Ben's friend Isla completes a grand slam of answering incorrectly. That's really made me laugh, that thread. Oh man, will it matter? But Bethan, there's it's not quite unbelievable, but I don't know. Some people do very different things. So what they have done is 4 plus 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 3, plus 6 times 2, which is 12, equals, and then 16 equals 51, which I think is correct, but exactly why you would. But mind you, I also can't remember. I don't know. I can't field these questions. I don't know if any of them need shoes. I don't know if Fate Legs need shoes.
Way around, you know what I mean? Anyway, okay, well, someone's going to have to point me in the direction of the distribution centre because I need to get onto a network.
Someone's going to have to point her in the distribution centre because she needs to get onto a network. That's not one of your puzzles.
Is that a bed bot?
I'll have a cry.
No, I don't. I think that was what we call AS, accidental spamming.
It's just what happens in the house.
It is something that happens in the house. Quite a lot of bit has happened in the house this evening, whatever you call this. Right, 51 is the winner, and partly thanks to Bethan's very persuasive maths. Do spiders have 8 legs or some of them arms? I don't know. I don't know anything about that spider. That's been well documented.
Got a soul.
I don't remember. I don't remember much about the spider. Like I've seen it since, but I don't remember much about that evening, I must say. The man from medieval times seems absolutely delighted by your response. He whips out a flute, plays a brief solo, and punches a peasant. Truly, of time, break into a smile. That was unbelievably well done by the math people and whoever else carried that. Well done. He beckons you into a little anteroom where a woman is lying on a rough straw bed. There's a goat wandering around, some monks are chanting in plain song, someone's doing a poo in the corner, etc. The woman doesn't look too well. As with Roman times, I've had to paint this in quite broad brushstrokes. She will die soon unless you help, says the olden times gentleman, gesturing in alarm. We have sucked blood from her, prayed, thrown her in the river. We are out of tears. Seems a lot to put on you, but you've been so welcomed here by this man with his occasional mix of modern and antiquated spelling and lexicon. His flowing hair. Do you have anything which might save the life of this stricken maiden? And so then I think this is your last puzzle. You must now choose between, well, you've still got a banana. You famously have at least one knife. You still have a harmonica. And also in a couple of episodes ago, you did some dancing after voting on something like, holy shit, I want to dance. So those are the options. With one of those 4 things, perhaps you may save the life of this medieval woman and return for the final time to the house in the present day, which you may feel is something of a bittersweet fate, really, but all the same. Perhaps not surprisingly, quite a big lead for knife. Oh no, hang on, banana. Oh, look at this. Banana, knife, mouth organ and dancing.
Is the banana in pajamas?
It's banana, but I'm compelled to knife. A strange response. Imagine being that convinced it's banana and it's still not voting for it. But the history of the knife and its reach with its mental hold upon this audience is significant, it's fair to say. Banana's gone back into quite a big lead here. Still 23% for knife. This is, I might be looking at an older, of course, 9 hours ahead though, so I already know everything that's happened and everything that happens tomorrow. Mouth organ and dancing quite a long way back. It looks like banana. I suppose it's a case of juice back in the fridge, isn't it? Nearly 8 o'clock in the morning.
Have you posted the knife yet?
Sorry?
Has the knife reached America?
Oh, fucking hell. I forget this every time. Sorry, Teresa, still owe you a knife. Yeah. What did happen, and I keep forgetting to tell you.
Threatening mugging.
Yeah, is somebody showed up, and maybe you're here, and if you are, please identify yourself. Are you? What's your name? I do apologise, I've forgotten.
Melanie.
Melanie showed up at one of my shows with a cardboard sort of hard to explain. Anyway, a knife, and on it was written, "Don't post knives." Astonishing.
Fantastic.
And I've kept it, and I keep, like, it was not a real knife, it was just made out of, but it was an amazing bit of sort of merch art. And And I was going to show it in the last house, but I forgot. And of course, I've not brought it here because traveling even with fake knives is unpopular.
Yeah, you can travel with knives.
Right. A tantalising glimpse of the inside of my fridge there. Absolutely. Exciting. I got 3 big tubs in there, and once this is over, quite a lot of that yogurt will be in me. All right. Yes. I apologize. The orange juice will not be lying down soon. It's just that I've had to do a fridge reshuffle because of the amount of yogurt that I purchased yesterday.
Right, you don't have to justify it.
Listen,
Have you got someone?
I'm an open book with my fans. I'll answer any questions.
We play fridge Tetris.
I don't think at this point we will play fridge Tetris. Somebody likes yogurt in the chat box there is a reference to the fact that Richard Herring once did amazingly almost a whole stand-up show about him buying yogurt and the cashier saying somebody likes yogurt. Out of that, he spun what was more than half-hour routine. And the crowning irony is that he doesn't like yogurt as much as I do because nobody on this globe does. Right. Do I look as happy eating yogurt as the women in yogurt adverts? Who's to say? They're normally adverts for like yogurt that gets your bowels moving and stuff like that. So, but I suppose that is a form of happiness, isn't it? You offer the banana is the winner. You offer a banana to the invalid. She and your Middle Ages friend look at it as if it's a witch's bracelet. As well, they might. They are 250 years too early, that's a typo, to witness the first appearance of this fruit in Britain. I googled that. Of course, I don't know when bananas arrived. Eat it, you say. Eat. You gesture, making. Hang on, I've got a banana. Sorry. Fine.
Pressure.
There's more acting.
Eat it.
Amazing. Very rare. I've got a prop read like that. Eat. You gesture, making the universal sign language for shoving something in one's mouth, where it could be misinterpreted. Invalid takes a bite of the soft yellow flesh. She sits up, grins. Well done. Woman, formerly at death's door, is now at the opposite. Life's rule. She and the man have every chance of seeing their 40s. They fall at your feet in gratitude. You have come from above, says the long-haired man. Now, this is less porny than the last episode, I think, actually, Dr. Reynolds. I don't know when the tone became like this, but I don't exactly see going back in the bottle, if you see what I mean. He indicates that he wishes to thank you. You don't exactly mind this. Maybe you'll come out of this with an ancient treasure or at least some hay or something. He mimes reaching out your hand. Before you know it, not really a mime, is it? He is raising a red-hot poker in the air and plunging it down on your left, the only useful one, autobiography. You scream in agony. There is a livid H-shaped mark on the back of the dear old hand. You are losing consciousness. Bloody right. Oh, good. After you saw that woman with the banana.
Very nice.
When you regain it, the hand doesn't hurt anymore. The outline of the H-shaped scar is very faint. Your memories of the court of Robert II, King of Scotland, are like a dream, another dream. You dust yourself down and return, except this time you will not return to the time jukebox, I don't think, because you have exhausted the time jukebox. H-O-Z-E. Yeah. You have a Z, an O, an H, an E. You think back to your wordling career, which began and ended in a bathroom. E, Z, O, A. Or hang on, what if the Roman letter Z, the lightning, was more like a chat box? Anyone? I don't know if this is true actually, but I googled the Roman alphabet and they use a Z for a more commonly seen letter in our alphabet. We've
How
got
can we know it's a Z?
There is
not
not
an
a on the chat. No, we don't. But it's not. But it is a different letter. Yes, that's right. Yes, Lika, it's an S. We can roll it, Matt. Sorry. Oh, I'm very slightly behind. Yes, an S. So shoe. Or hang on, what if? Oh, hang on. Yeah, it's fine. Yes, H-O gap S-E, hose, but also 4 of the 5 letters of the word, well, we can all spell house. This cannot be a coincidence, you feel. If you could find a U, if you could spell the word out, is that how you escape? I've been looking for you all these years. Thanks, Eric. Churches used to say, what's missing? You are, to try and get you to go in. It didn't work. You rattle the jukebox. Well, maybe it worked. I think people that found God largely didn't do it via that method. You rattle the jukebox. You try cramming money into it. If you could make one more time voyage, surely there'd be a final letter U in it for you. But it's unresponsive. You're closer than you've ever been to understanding yet.
No.
It's been a hell of a day. You've covered many thousands of years. You've collected 4 clues, which make 1. You've absolutely earned this sleep. You stretch out on the floor and, as usual, dream about share. And that's it. We've covered quite a bit there. Yeah. Bloody hell. Right. Well, you've got an H, an O, an S, and an E, and you need a U, and it is bittersweet. Yes, among other things, you've died for the first time. I think in the end, hardly anything. I mean, I will, as usual, do some online acknowledgments of the people whose efforts have gone into this, like via Twitter and everything. But special thanks to Matt for the enormous amount that he's done here, and also Alex for salvaging the technical aspects of that. Hype, that's how you do it. Matt, hype in the box, please. And also Alex, hype in the box. Matt, a hype is a thing where you, well, you'll see what happens. More than well over a year since the first, almost 2 years since the first watch, and I still can never get over how this happens. The hype thing. Anyway, thank you very much for, well, now I can hear myself, but that is almost the first time that's happened, and it could have been a lot worse. Well, it's almost exactly, if it is 8 o'clock here in the morning, it must be 11 p.m. in the UK. If you're in North America, I can't help you, but it'll be on your phone. Thank you very much for watching. There you go. 3 p.m. in LA, 6 p.m. on the other coast, I guess. Extraordinary stuff. Thank you very much for doing this. I don't know when the next one will be, but I think it's safe to say that we just missed the last one out, so it will be sometime like this time in May, late May, in other words, probably about this time next month. What channel are you discussing football? Oh, it's on this channel called Stan or something. I don't think anyone watches it, and to be honest, they probably shouldn't, at least today. Thank you very much. I'll be on the Twitter shortly. Sleep well, or have a nice day, or whatever else, and I'll see you next time in the Hack.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark.